everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from stormy Salt Lake City, Utah.
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
The podcast.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up today, Dan, we're going to talk about mockery.
We are.
As like a tool
It is
shout down
one of the sharpest
the
tools
ding-dongs amongst us.
in many atheists' toolboxes. It is frequently employed.
It's not nice.
It's not nice.
It's not nice.
It is employed to greater and lesser effect, depending. And we're going to have a chat about it as a concept.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds like that's
Because you and I, we're prone to mock.
I never.
We've got a whole show.
Dan, I never.
You
would never.
You
Dan.
would never, ever.
That is, how dare you?
Mock anybody.
Never.
Hey, you know what I want to talk about real quick? Just before we get into it, we are doing so great on our push to try and be listener supported exclusively.
Yeah.
I just wanted to remind people that that's what we're doing. That if you want an ad-free show, completely just ad-free, we're getting there. We're climbing that ladder. We're almost there. I just wanted to put it out at the top of the show.
Yeah.
Remind people you can just pause it right now and go to thankgodimatheist.com, click the support thing, and just become a supporter on Patreon at your own level, whatever level you want.
Yeah.
And that would be super swell.
Yeah. All right.
We'd love you.
Well, thanks, Dan, and thank you, everyone who does support the show.
Yeah, we'll thank them later.
Yeah, okay. But I'm just saying in general.
No, later. We're going to thank them later.
In general.
Franklin.
Dan.
All right.
No specifics. Dan.
Yeah. What do you got?
I wish we had talked about this when it was actually happening. It's a little... It's older.
It slipped
aging.
through a crack.
It's not ancient news.
Okay.
It's just... It slipped through a crack.
It's Roman, not Mesopotamian.
Yeah, exactly. So apparently there's this big, giant Christian youth event called Passion.
Ooh.
They had their event back a number of months ago. Passion 2019.
Yeah. That's the appropriate year.
That is, right. So it's not, again, not ancient news. So they have these big conferences, and one of the things that they end up doing at them is they will raise money for a cause.
Yeah.
And in the past, they've raised like over $8 million that they donated to fight modern-day slavery.
Ooh.
That's wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And some other issues that they felt strongly about. This year, the students raised almost $500,000 for something called the Deaf Bible Society, whose mission it is to translate, wait for it, the Bible into sign language.
Oh.
Because people who speak sign language... Right, essentially speak sign language. They're deaf individuals.
Okay.
Right?
I'm starting to see a small issue. It's a noble effort. I will give them that it is a noble effort. But
yeah,
the deaf community in general, I don't mean to generalize completely.
No.
But it does feel like they can read. They can see the pages.
They can see the pages. Why can't they read the pages?
They could just read. You know what it is? It's their version of an audiobook. Why don't they have... They don't get the... They don't... That's what they're doing. They're getting them an audiobook of the Bible.
Yeah.
But it's a video book.
It's a video book.
It's not a joke. It's not... That's not...
This is not a joke.
Did someone trick these poor kids
This
into...
is totally fucking real. Like, I looked deeply into this because I was like, wait, what? This doesn't make an ounce of sense. So I went to the website for Deaf Bible Society.
Yeah.
Or DBS.
Yeah.
They're part of something called Hope in Every Language. It's a campaign that helps fund and distributes translations of the stories of Jesus. And specifically, they're doing it into the unique sign languages of areas that have not been reached.
Interesting.
Such as there is no, currently, or at least as of January, when this story came out, no unique sign language version of the New Testament for the following countries, which all have their own sign language. Right. Mexico, Cuba, Colombia, Moldova, Egypt, Ghana, South Africa, Tanzania, Ethiopia, South Sudan, Myanmar.
Okay, but to be clear,
so forth and so on. Like,
there
it just
are
keeps going, right?
Spanish language Bibles and Arabic Bibles, and like all the Bible itself has been translated.
No. Deaf people, Dan. Okay, there are, according to their website, there are 70 million people who use sign language as their first language, Dan.
Okay.
80% of deaf children throughout the world, right?
Yeah.
Never learned to read.
80?
This is what they're saying.
Oh.
Right? Because the countries that I just listed off, not all of them are
they're not going to
wealthy
have,
nations.
They're not going to have good deaf services.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right? And get this. Get this, Dan. Globally, only 2% of deaf people have been preached the gospel.
Oh my God.
Only 2%, Dan.
I feel like now that I know this, now we got to like start our own foundation to get Dawkins out there, I guess.
And it's something like 95% of sign languages have no Bible translation.
Wow.
Okay. And there are at least 400 unique sign languages throughout the world. So what they're doing, rather than taking this money and using it toward a literacy program, which might improve the lives of these people.
Oh, yeah. No.
They're only preaching them the gospel in sign language and keeping them a captive audience from a literacy perspective.
Wait, they're capturing them?
This is teach a man to fish.
Right. This is no.
Right.
Here, have a fish.
This is here, have a fish.
Oh, you don't like this kind of fish? Well, it's the only fish I'm offering.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. This is disgusting.
Yeah. I don't know about disgusting.
No, it is disgusting. I am so offended by this, Dan. I am completely, utterly outraged because they should be teaching literacy to these groups under the auspices, if they want to connect it to the Bible, that they can then read the Bible.
Yeah, teach them literacy. Absolutely. 100% that is the right thing to do.
But they are not giving them a leg up. And what I also love about this is it's clearly just some sham thing. This is such bullshit because they're also talking about, internet access to be able to watch these videos of the Bible.
Yeah.
Right? Of people signing the Bible. And, I'm sorry, quality broadband to where you're going to be able to watch these videos, right, does not necessarily exist everywhere.
No.
And so it's just boy, howdy. It's such a ridiculous cause in name only.
Yeah.
And even the premise of it is offensive. And I hate it.
Okay.
It bugs me.
Fair enough.
I'm mad.
On the plus side, the Bible is unreadable even in written form. They're not going to watch this thing. It's going to be available in all of these different sign languages.
Again,
nobody's gonna actually consume it.
I know, but they're just wasting money when they could be doing actual.
Wait a minute, are you saying
Christians
that religious people are engaging in a colossal waste of money? When has that ever happened? It's new. It's a new thing, is what we're saying.
This is just a new brand.
Yeah,
and it's disgusting.
It is. It's not.
And how people can't even see through it. I mean, you could only preach this to a bunch of gullible teenagers and have them raise money about it.
Oh my God!
Right?
No,
actually,
you are
just gullible people,
wildly underestimating the credulousness of adults
and Christians
in general. So you and I have been alienating a bunch of our listeners probably recently by talking about guns.
Oh,
because we're not we're both gun owners. I will point that out.
Big time.
We're both, literally, we are both gun owners. That is a fact.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just
saying, big time.
However, I just want to put, and many of our listeners may have differing views on what gun legislation should be about, that sort of thing. However, I do love this story that came out this week. This takes place in West Virginia, where the wife of a pastor at the New Life Apostolic Church in Oak Hill and the wife of the youth pastor had been feuding. The ladies were not getting along. The pastors decided that maybe it would be a good idea to get them together. Just hash it out. Let's just have a little love fest, and we'll all just get it all out in the open. And sunlight is the best disinfectant. The ladies took to bickering to the point where Melinda, what's her name? Melinda something. Willis? No, that's the other one. Melinda, I think it's Melinda. Melinda Fry Tony. Sorry. Took me a second to find that name. Got fed up. And by the way, feel free, you listeners at home, to look up.
Oh, that's a forehead.
The picture of this fine couple.
That's a lot of forehead, Dan.
She does some hair. There's some hair there.
She doesn't have to have that forehead. Hair could come down.
No.
Right.
Oh, she's she's happy about it.
She's got the West Valley,
she's got the West Virginia.
Oh yeah, I guess it's just a thing.
Flump. It's a fluff.
Wherever there's a West.
Yeah, exactly. Anywho, she stomped off to her car. Her husband knew what she was stomping off to get from the vehicle, which was her handgun. She apparently, which, by the way, she is licensed. She has a concealed carry permit for this thing, which presumably in West Virginia, I don't know what the rules are, but in Utah, to get a concealed carry permit, you have to have been through training, safety training, and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
West Virginia, it may just be you got to wave a gun in the air for 3 times and say hallelujah, and they'll give you one. I'm not sure. What I am sure of is that her husband followed her out to prevent the impending tragedy that was about to occur, and in their little squabble, a shot was fired.
Shut up!
Nobody was hurt. Nobody was injured. But anyone who tells me that, keeping guns in the hands of law-abiding citizens is a good idea will not convince me, because I happen to know that human beings have emotions.
Yeah.
And the second they get really, really, really pissed,
yeah,
they're going to do something stupid.
Yeah.
But yes, that's
oh my God. What a ding-dong.
The Christ-like love
yeah.
of West Virginia.
These are the people preaching at you.
Yep.
Wow.
No word yet on what's going to become of Mrs. Pastor, but oh boy.
Well, I would say
guns in churches, it's always a good idea.
I mean, the story hit the news.
Yeah.
I would assume the police were called.
They were.
And
she's been charged.
Cited with discharging a weapon. And
she has been charged with something. She declined to speak to police. She had her lawyer come in, and
wow, all right,
we'll see.
Okay, well, I wish her the best. I wish her and her bangs the best. Mm-hmm. All right, Dan.
Yeah,
we take a stance.
You and I,
a very firm stance. Yes, this show, you and I in general, on the side of freedom of speech.
We're pro
freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech.
And
in general.
We're pretty, when stories come up from around the world, from countries that have laws that limit speech, especially the kind of speech that might offend.
Yeah.
We usually, take a stance against that kind of stuff, right? We would say it's better just for it to be out there and in the open, right?
Okay.
Sort of, right? That's more or less what we say, right? You would agree with that?
Sure.
Okay. Well, I want to ask us the question of sometimes maybe there is a benefit to, is there a benefit to having a penalty, some kind of penalty for sort of stepping outside of the bounds of decency?
Huh.
Right?
For offensive speech?
For offensive speech. And so I want to tell you the story of a Swedish imam.
Okay.
Right? Who was fined.
Not what you normally think of. That's not a phrase that you normally put those two words next to each other.
Right.
But okay. An imam, a Muslim cleric from the country of Sweden.
Yes.
Okay.
Who was at a rally. And they were... It had something to do with actions in Israel. Of the Israeli state.
Right.
But he... decides that he's going to specifically talk about Jews. And he engages in what is easily called hate speech, right? By calling Jews the, quote, offspring of apes and pigs.
Oh.
Okay? And this is...
and that's offensive because they don't eat pork. No, I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway, so there was a Jewish assembly in the area that reported this to the authorities.
Okay.
And this imam was placed on trial and has been found guilty of engaging in hate speech.
Okay.
And fined $305. Right? So not a large sum. He's not thrown in jail.
Right.
Right? But when you start to think about, and this is where I started wondering about this. When you think about sort of the problems that can arise when groups start offending each other, especially groups that have a long history and potentially causing sectarian strife.
Yeah.
If you can go to the authorities and shut down this public speech, like this wasn't like he was in private saying this. It wasn't even like he said it over the pulpit, right?
Yeah.
He was at a rally and was trying to get people riled up. His defense, he said that he was talking about the state of Israel, and the court didn't buy that. They said Jew, the word Jew, is not the same as the state of Israel.
Well, that's true. They are
Right?
correct about that.
And so they rejected his defense and said, no, you engaged in hate speech against a group of people, right?
Yeah,
Do words have harm?
Yes,
And that's my question.
Words can definitely have harm, but I think it's a waste of everybody's time to...
You don't think the state has some interest in trying to keep the peace?
Short of inciting people to violence or causing mischief with your speech, the whole fire in a theater sort of thing.
Yeah.
Short of that, no. I think that's ridiculous. The cure for stupid speech is good speech. Is smart speech.
In a perfect world,
it's not a perfect world for sure.
Right.
But listen,
like when we have deeply held,
you're allowed to hate
animosity.
people. People are allowed to hate people.
right? But to what end? Right?
Well, I think it's stupid to hate people, especially to hate a big group of people. I
Right.
think that's dangerous and ugly and stupid and
Right.
and contrary to good society. However, I think it's also contrary to good society to say you're not allowed to say that. The rest of us should very much stand up, point at them and say, you're an idiot.
Right.
You're a dickhead. We reject you.
Yeah.
But that's what you do. You don't charge them a nominal amount of money.
Right.
Ha, we got you. $300, please.
Right. But nobody likes paying fines. Right.
Yeah,
And
but
he
you know
can-
what? He can turn that into heroism on his part. I was charged all of this money just for now he goes back to his congregation and he says the Swedish government is anti-Islamic, rather than being able to say, rather than saying, well, the people have rejected this. He can now spin this yarn about.
You can spend anything however you want to, right? Like I
Yeah,
just,
but when the government gets
interesting-
involved, it's a problem, I think.
I don't know. Like, I think that there's something that intrigues me about the idea of thinking more about the effects of words. We limit how people physically interact with each other.
Yeah.
Right? And we have punishments and stern punishments for acting out of line and resorting to physical action instead. Right?
Sure.
And of course we do that. And so then there's this other question of like, well, what about the words that can have harm? What about the words that can push people, maybe not immediately to violence, but to continue harboring their hatreds and continuing to and offending? Like, think about the idea of offense, right? And you have in this case the local Jewish community that chose to go to the authorities because they had that route to take.
Yeah.
Right? But let's just call it Group A and Group B, right? And so we take it out of this whole thing and we say Group A offends Group B and Group B doesn't have a course of action. And they start to harbor animosity and anger toward this other group.
Sure.
Right? And these kind of laws seem to be in place to try to prevent this sectarian problems, the strife between groups that could rise up, right?
Yeah, I know
in the past when we've talked about these things, I'm like, oh, your whittle feelings, right?
Yeah.
You got your little religious feelings.
Unfortunately, your whittle feelings can lead to gunplay.
Yeah.
But by the same token, I'm still not. I don't think I'm there.
I'm just asking the question, right?
Okay.
Like, where it like we've been very we've drawn a line.
Yeah.
And it's typically the line that is sort of drawn legally in our society. Right?
Yeah, here in the U.S. at least.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so, but we go to other very similarly minded nations, more or less, right? And they've drawn the line in a different place.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm just kind of mulling over.
Sure. It's worth a mull.
What effect does that have? And I know that other countries around the world have a strong interest in keeping the peace. It's sort of right, like they want a peaceful society, right? And they look at these and we kind of don't have that as an interest in this country.
Oh my God.
Right? Which you look at other countries and you go, yeah, they have their disagreements and there can be moments of real problem and discord, right, amongst their people. But I look at a place like Sweden, it's pretty.
Well, let's put that to our listeners. You guys write into us if you have some insights to help us out with this conversation. We'll also be talking more about sort of speech at the end of the show, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
To hear from y'all about that. Hey, Frank. I don't know if you realize this, but football season is upon us. Are you ready for some football?
Oh, yeah. I love football. It's my favorite.
The only game that I care about has already been played. So
yeah.
And the Utes beat the mighty Cougars of BYU.
Yeah.
Our University of Utah team triumphed over their arch rival.
Yeah. I don't follow such things.
No. I don't really either.
At all.
I did watch that game, though.
I heard that game was about to happen, like, that afternoon.
What?
Huh?
The game was about to happen? It did happen.
I know. I heard.
Oh!
I was so unaware that it was happening.
Okay.
That it was in the last minutes leading up to it. And I was like, oh, really? That's today? Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, however, for those who care a lot about football, especially college football, Clemson is a word that is very meaningful. The college out of what, North Carolina?
I have no idea.
One of the Carolinas. And Clemson is the number one football team in the country currently. They are predicted to be possible champions yet again. They've won several times.
Oh wow!
They are
good on them.
They are a force to be reckoned with.
Okay.
In the world of college football, that's American football with the weirdly shaped ball, not football to the rest of the world. Anywho, Clemson is a state school, meaning that it is funded by government money and is an institution essentially of the government, which means that it would not be okay if, for example, the head coach of the Clemson football team, one Dabo Swinney. Where is that name from? Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dabo. Anyway, Coach Swinney, if he were to, let's say, hire a pastor, not a pastor. What do you call it? What do they call it in the military? When you've got a chaplain, if he were to hire a chaplain as part of his coaching staff.
Oh, good idea.
Or if he were to, say, bus all of his team, hire, buses to try to take them all to church services at a local Baptist church. Or, for instance, if he were to basically run the team like it was a goddamn church, which is what he does all of the time.
And because he has a winning team, nobody's saying boo about it.
That's the thing. If you're winning, everybody's quiet.
Well, he's got a good formula.
This
whole God thing.
He's making it work. It's obvious that it works.
God seems to be on our side.
Yeah.
We keep winning.
Yeah,
the Lord is happy.
It's so weird, and the FUFRF has gotten involved.
Oh boy!
I mean, this has been
This
has been going on for a long time, but the FUFRF got involved a while back in I think 2012 or something like that, and other basically it is a very clear violation of the First Amendment. It is unequivocal. It is so easy, and yet nobody's done jack shit. Because football. If you want to know the real religion of these United States of America, it's not the Christianity. It is the football.
Ugh.
That is far more important.
I'm also atheist about that.
Yeah, you are. And I'm not a big football fan. I enjoy the odd game here and there. But, when you're ranked number 1 in the nation, ain't nobody going to take any chances. You let him keep doing what he's going to do.
So good.
Also, he's probably I'm going to guess, and I'm not 100% sure on this, but I'm pretty sure, I think I read something I think he's the highest paid state employee in the country.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
There you go.
If you want a winning team, Dan.
Yeah, you got to do what it takes.
You take your public resources.
Jesus loves football. And boy, the Jesus-ier you get, the more football-y you are.
Oh boy. Well, good on them. I'm happy for them. I'm glad they have a winning team.
Yeah. Isn't that great?
Just makes my day.
Yeah.
Ah, God, football. All right, Dan. Utah Board of Education.
I am Board of Education.
They held a meeting.
Okay.
Last week.
Yeah.
To which a bunch of demonstrators showed up.
Okay.
From one group that you'll recognize the name of, and another group called Pro-Life Utah.
Oh.
Okay. Pro-Life Utah, you can guess what that is.
Yeah.
The other group was the Eagle Forum.
Oh, the Eagle Forum.
The Eagle Forum, headed by
Eagle Soar.
Headed by Gail Ruzicka.
Oh, yeah. If
that name doesn't mean anything to you,
then you're lucky. Oh, my God. If you don't know who Gail Ruzicka is, which most of you probably don't, then you are in a better position in life than we are.
Uber conservative Eagle Forum.
Just a horrible woman in general.
And she sits in the now this little anecdote might put an image in your head.
Okay.
It won't be the right image.
Uh-oh.
She sits in the sort of the public balcony space in the legislature when they're in session.
Right.
And knits.
Oh, of course she does.
She doesn't really look like a knitter. I don't know why she knits. She's just sort of this.
I think she's playing into the sort of mild-mannered old lady thing.
Yeah, she's not. She's not. She's a force to be reckoned with. And she looks like a very stern woman. Like she just looks not nice.
She looks like
she looks unpleasant.
She looks like she was created in the Henson Muppet Studios and then rejected as too scary. They were like, "Hey, we're gonna do the new Dark Crystal thing." Oh my God! What? No, I'm afraid we can't make less scary Skeksis.
Anyway, they all showed up in order to protest sex ed in our school. The legislature recently tweaked our sex ed laws, which, by the way, are still abstinence-only education sex ed laws.
Yeah.
But they've sort of created this space for the students, basically legally saying, teachers, yes, you can respond to the students' questions. Right?
Yeah.
If a student asks a, quote,
a direct,
spontaneous question.
Oh, okay.
Right? Then the teacher is able to answer it in the classroom.
Okay.
Right? In front of everyone.
So that's what the law says, abstinence only. And the workaround
has to be answered in the framework of abstinence only. But the student is allowed to ask the specific question because there are things that they are not going to talk about in the context of abstinence only. They don't teach them things
which
that
means,
they need
which
to
means
know.
that what teachers should be doing is saying at the beginning of the semester, so I am going to be teaching you the Utah curriculum.
Yeah.
One of you, each class period, needs to be the designated asker of spontaneous questions.
Right.
So that I can actually educate you on other things than the curriculum.
That would be a great approach. So Gail Ruzicka apparently, though, was nosing around on the Utah Board of Education website. And she found a teacher's guide for how to answer spontaneous questions. And in the guide, there are 52 sample questions that are divided up into various different topics. But she was outraged by the topics that it's addressing. She says, most of the questions I cannot read to you. It would be inappropriate and embarrassing for all of us.
Oh, my God.
Right? These questions include, what is a wet dream?
What?
What is oral and anal sex?
Okay.
Can girls get pregnant if they have sex standing up? Right? This is the state of Utah sex ed.
Yeah.
Will I be a better lover if I have more partners? And what is...
Answer yes.
What is...
Probably.
Masturbation?
What is it?
What is masturbation?
Right.
Okay, these are just some samples.
That's the devil trying to get into you?
Apparently there's also another question that has people really upset. This is why the anti-abortion people showed up.
Okay.
The question is, was asking to define abortion, right?
Uh-huh.
And the sample answer is, it is the spontaneous or medically induced removal of the contents of the uterus during pregnancy.
Oh, that is okay. That's actually kind of a confusing way of talking about it. I get that they're trying to
really
walk through a landmine on that, but that is I actually object to that too.
Well, I'm sure you would rewrite the answer in a very different way than Deanna Holland, who's the vice president of Pro-Life Utah.
It is the killing of your baby, the murder. Sorry,
she said that it should be, you were so close, Dan, instead defined as, quote, the intentional killing of an unborn child.
Yes.
That is abortion.
Yes.
That is abortion. Glossing over information on abortion is tantamount to approving of it, she says.
Well, what about glossing over the rest of human sexuality? Should we also not gloss over that?
It would be tantamount to approving it. of it, according to her thinking.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So according to her thinking, abstinence only is the best way to encourage sex.
That, according to her thinking on abortion, is exactly correct. This is all in the wake of the Salt Lake County Health Department issuing a report not too long ago, like within the last few weeks, that found that teenagers are contracting sexually transmitted diseases at incredibly high rates in the Salt Lake County. And it led the director of the county health department saying that sex education is not working. That is what got them at this meeting. Gail Ruzicka was incensed, I guarantee you, by a public official daring say something like something that's been proven time and time again.
Right.
Doesn't work.
Well, it
doesn't work.
But Frank, they wouldn't be getting these diseases if they were just not having sex. which of course has always worked.
Because if you don't tell somebody about sex, they'll never know that it exists, right? They'll never feel sexual urges.
No.
If you don't tell them about sex.
Yeah. If you just left them to their own devices.
Two teenagers would never figure it out on their own.
No.
Ever.
No.
When all they want to do is to touch each other's bodies and to take each other's clothes off.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell them what to do.
Well,
and tell them how to be safe.
What not to do, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, there you go. We'll close things out with a story coming out of Nashville. The students at St. Edward Catholic School can no longer read Harry Potter. I mean,
because of magic, right?
Because the priest in charge was looking through it and did realize, first of all, the first thing he has to say is that those books present magic as both good and evil. And that is wrong.
It's always evil.
It's all evil, except for Jesus magic, which doesn't count as magic.
No, it's not magic.
No,
Jesus isn't magic.
Jesus is definitely magic, but that's not how he sees it. Apparently, he started to get concerned and wrote to the Vatican.
Oh no!
Worried about all of this writing about magic and wizards and witches and whatnot. The conjuring of evil spirits.
Oh, no.
Here's what he had to say in an email. He said, the curses and spells used in the books are actual curses and spells, which, when read by a human being, risk conjuring evil spirits into the presence of the person reading the text.
Okay, I have not read the Harry Potter books.
What?
I haven't.
Oh. I expecto patronum more from you, Frank.
But it spells like that. Right?
Yeah.
And I
may have just conjured a spirit. I don't even know. How do you tell? How do you tell if you
That's the worst part. You don't know.
Yeah.
That's what makes it evil.
Yeah, so evil.
It's this demon just slips right in.
You can't even tell that they're there.
Oh my God. No, what a ding dong.
Reverend Dan Rehill he's made the call, he's made it official. Those books are banned from the school library.
But he's so popular now.
Oh, yeah.
All the kids love him.
Well,
he's not just an old curmudgeon.
In the 20 years since those books have been out?
Well, I would say a man in his role, what took him so long?
Right?
He just barely got around to it.
Well, and also, all I'm saying is...
Did you not see the movies? I at least saw the movies.
Right? I saw the movies, too. All I'm saying is, he has a point, because when you look around, since those books came out, all the kids have demons and devils just flying around them at all times. They're constant...
It's just every single generation there is something. There were kids on my block that couldn't watch the Smurfs.
I know.
Because of magic.
Yeah.
Because Gargamel, magic, whatever, right? Like,
goodness.
it's just insanity. Like, people, there's a kind of person,
Yeah.
right, in this world, and especially for whatever reason, just in this country, right?
Yeah.
That just freaks out about this stuff.
I just can't.
And they're so afraid. And the thing that I like, when we grew up in believing households, and my mother's my mother's approach was never that any of the stuff that wasn't real. Mormonism was real, 100%.
Sure, of course.
Nothing else was.
Right. Yeah.
So Smurfs, who cares? Right. That's fake. Right.
Yeah.
It's not. There's no magic like that. You can't say a spell and conjure up stuff.
I just want to see.
Magic's not real. Palm reading, not real. Tarot cards, right? But it's psychics, not real.
But it's funny because you got to draw a line at some point. Your mom believes in magic.
She does. Yeah.
So it's like, this guy's just taking it. This guy is actually, it's so funny because I complain constantly about believers, in scare quotes, who don't actually believe the things that they believe. You know what I mean? And that's 99% of them don't actually believe. So when somebody actually goes all the way and is like, the Bible's true, and therefore witchcraft is real, and therefore magic and evil spells are real, when a guy actually goes ahead and believes what he believes, we just see how here's what I want to see.
But I'll tell you, much of the magic, okay, so the spells are real.
Yeah.
Are there kids flying around on broomsticks playing some stupid game?
I can't wait for the moment where he sees a kid outside and at recess or whatever playing like magic wand with a stick and just tackles him.
Do you know what you could have done? Do you know what evil you could have wrought?
Kid's like, Wingardium Leviosa. Not in my school, mister.
Why do they have to believe it all?
Yeah.
It's not but they pick and choose what they believe.
They all pick and choose. And
it's unreal.
I would love to meet the person who believes all of what Christianity is supposed to believe, because their head would just pop off. You can't do it. It's impossible to do.
I would love for somebody just to believe in all the magic in the world. It doesn't matter what deity, doesn't matter they just believe all the magic.
That person's called a hippie. You can find them in Sedona. I'm a pan-religionist
around all of us.
I believe that all the religions have truth, and all the religions are true, and that I believe in the Christian God, and I believe in all the Hindu gods. It's all real, man.
Everything has a spirit. When I eat this carrot, I know that I'm killing the carrot.
I know that I have just
I say a little prayer.
Yeah. It's all.
Please, Lord, forgive me.
Please,
for killing this carrot.
All of the gods.
Yeah, please, lords,
various and sundry deities, forgive and or bless and or whatever it is you do. My consumption of this carrot. Amen. All right. Well, if you have anything you'd like to say about any of the stuff we're talking about, please write into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yep. Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and click on the like button.
And while you're there, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It is a closed group, but we will let you in. Cha-cha. Down.
Yes.
We will soon be joined. By one Rick Joyner.
He's such a joiner.
He's Rick Joyner, crackpot extraordinaire,
a pastor, and a guy who likes to go onto the YouTubes and say nutball crap.
Yeah, he likes the selfie video a lot. A lot of his videos are him with sunglasses out on a porch somewhere. Talking,
just
not really into the camera, sort of around the camera.
Just expostulating on all kind of whatnot.
Yeah. He knows what's going on. He's a wise man.
Oh my God.
One of those men that you're just so glad that he's willing to stand up and say what's on his mind.
He went on the Jim Bakker show. Here's the thing about this is that the reason we're playing this is to sort of give us the sense, let us all know that one of the things that's upsetting in this country is not just happening on the crazy crackpot right. It's not just...
It's spreading.
Weird, fringy, like kooks.
Yeah, rest assured, it's no longer a fringe thing. Right?
It's
like now the more rational minds.
Oh, yes. It's a very rational mind. No. I'm just saying people with pretty good reach are saying this out loud in their out loud voice. So here's Rick Joyner.
The Second Amendment is linked to militias. And now when you say that word, everybody thinks white supremacist or all these weird. But no, we were meant to have militias throughout the country to defend our communities and all that are not racist or anything else, just want to defend their families and everything. I think you're going to see the right kind of militias in unity with law enforcement, the good law enforcement, which I think our law enforcement are an incredible source. I mean, you look at those guys in the recent shootings, as soon as the shooting starts, everybody's running for their lives. They're running right into the gunfight.
That's right.
You look at those,
amazing.
I mean, the incredible, but I think there's going to be a militia movement that unites and supports, is open about what they're doing and all, but they're going to be trained and prepared to defend their communities. And if Christians don't get involved in things like that, wrong people will get in.
Yeah, that's right.
And Christians need to get in to set the court. No, we're not going to just attack other racists or, races or things like that. We're here to defend and support. But if Christians have to get engaged in this, Jesus himself said, there's a time to sell your coat and buy a sword. That was the weapon of their day. And there's a time in Ecclesiastes 3, there's a time for everything. There's a time for war and there's a time for peace. Listen, we're entering a time for war, and we need to mobilize appropriately, rightly, not in darkness, not in fear, but in faith. But, it says those who do not provide for their own families and all, are worse than unbelievers. Well, providing is not just providing food and things like that. It's providing protection, security, and things like that. And if we don't do it right, it's going to be done wrong.
Yikes. Well, I want to know who he thinks. I mean, there's a time for war and there's a time for peace, and we're entering a time for war. Who does he think the war is about? The war is going to be against
the socialists.
That all of these Christian militias, which every time he said it, it sounded like he was saying malicious. These militias. Yeah, no,
it's us, right?
I guess
they think. I don't know what they think. Ugh. I honestly,
here's the thing:
being able to actually guess what they think.
They love feeling like they're warriors for Jesus. They love feeling like they're just, we're marching, we're going into battle for Jesus. Unfortunately, they're now arming for that battle, and that's not the kind of battle that it's supposed to be.
It's spread, and I think that's the main takeaway here is that this thing that we've been talking about on the show has started to spread, and we play these clips. Because, and it's easy to listen to these people and be like, they are just so ridiculous and they are so fringe and who could possibly be listening to them? A lot of people listen to these folks.
Yeah.
That's why these are the clips that we're picking up. These people have reach.
Yeah.
And it's really really scary to me. Not in like an existential, like I think things are actually going to like, there's going to be bedlam in the streets or anything. But scary for our society that this is what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Right? That this is their headspace.
I think it's amazing.
They're turning to violence in their minds about their Christianity. That is really weird to me.
I think it's crazy that he acknowledged that, like, militias, we do all think of white supremacist groups when you say the word militia. Yeah, that's what you're inciting, Rick Joyner.
Yeah.
That is, you can say it's not.
Right.
But guess what it is?
Right.
That.
Yeah.
You're not encouraging the black congregants to do that, are you?
Right. No, look at yeah, exactly. Look who's on the stage.
Yeah.
Right. Look who's and when they have the audience shots, look who's in the audience. Right.
It's a sea of
It's not like
white.
there's never been a person of color on these shows or in those audiences, but it's white people.
Yeah.
Anyway. And not that any old group of white people is a group of racists, but
yeah. Hey, we had some folks write into us, so we'll get to that. Lisa wrote into us, said, "Hi guys, I live in Fallon, Nevada, and we have a significant Mormon population." Yep, you do. It leaked out of Utah, guys. I don't know if you guys know this.
the Mormon Belt.
But all around Utah,
Yeah.
all the states are surrounded by many, many Mormons.
If you're near the Utah border, there's a good chance that you got a Mormon-y little town over there.
Yeah, it's true. Anyway, last year this is in reference to, we talked about the LDS Church establishing a strict no guns on our property, no weapons on our property.
Yeah.
Policy.
Yeah.
Last year, says Lisa, there was a fatal shooting during one of the Mormon services. It was pretty quickly hushed over. I don't think it even made national news, and there were very few local news updates. The LDS Church definitely has a good grip on northern Nevada. Maybe this little event helped influence the recent decisions regarding firearms. On the other side of the fence, just a few years ago, I attended a coworker's wedding. It was cowboy themed. Aw, a theme wedding. Everyone loves a theme. On the other side of the fence, just a few weeks ago, I attended a coworker's wedding. It was cowboy themed.
Yeah.
Aw, a theme wedding.
That's cute. I like it.
Which fits in our area. When I showed up, I realized they interpreted cowboy as, quote, shotgun wedding. The entire wedding party and at least half of the guests were carrying a firearm of some sort.
Whoa.
I was so incredibly uncomfortable and left shortly after I was able to congratulate the couple. Yeah.
Guns everywhere.
Oh, I hope they all took a moment and just fired up into the sky like a good Western cowboy party should. Bang, 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 bang. It's fun.
That's good stuff. I love it.
That's called fun.
No, actually, I think that just going back to why the church, their timing on when that came out, like a week after that announcement, Texas, they had a new gun law come online that made it a lot easier for like guns in churches in general.
Right.
And so I think the church was like, they saw that coming and probably some other incidents, and they were just like, we have to get on record on this.
Yeah.
This is our policy. Here you go, everyone.
But again, it was almost a shocking policy to me. I was pretty surprised that that's the direction they went, rather than, all ward clerks have to have are armed now.
The poor old clerk.
Anyway, Frank and Dan, this is from Bob. You and Patty, meaning Pat Robertson, were using incorrect language during this week's Patty break.
Oh no.
On the 6 days of creation.
What do we do?
The Earth rotates on its axis approximately 24 hours and revolves around the sun approximately 365 days. It really bothers me. Oh, sorry. Bob's a stickler, so I will amend and say that he did say approximately 365.25 days.
Yes.
It really bothers me when anyone gets this wrong, as I got it wrong on an astronomy class test over 40 years ago. Not only should you and other atheists demonstrate the incorrectness of theism, but also get facts scientifically correct, including the use of correct language. Most lay people get this wrong, and I don't care if Patty gets it correct or not. But you are better than him, so could you please use the scientifically correct language in the future in order to educate others?
I don't think it's a unreasonable request. However, sadly, the words do get interchanged a lot.
Yeah, and okay, you're right.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. As soon as he said it, I was like, "Yeah, that is a thing, isn't it?"
We want you to know that we agree with you, that it's good, but also we're not going to hold ourselves to that. We're not
that is
scientists.
Not the standard.
We are not scientists. If I say the Earth rotates around the sun, guess what? You're going to know what I mean.
Damn.
We'll all figure it out. Let's hold hands and go forth in this imperfect language together. But no, thank you, Bob. You're correct. What it does on its axis, that's rotation.
Yeah,
what it does around the sun,
different things.
that's revolution.
We get it.
Okay.
We get it. We accept it.
Yes.
I will go so far as to say, I'm sorry.
I'm not going to apologize, but I am going to try to commit.
We have offended his sense of words.
Okay, well,
an accuracy.
Yeah, we were inaccurate. We'll try to be accurate in the future, but not very hard.
I always try. I'm always reaching for the right word.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Sure.
And if I get the wrong word, it's fine. And if somebody in particular, like, because I'm not like wired,
right.
I haven't wired my brain on these two words to hear it when people use it incorrectly.
Yeah.
That when I hear it used incorrectly, I probably am just going to run with their usage because I understood what they said, and I'm just going to, and their intention, and I'm just going to run with it.
I'm just in a place now where I used to be a stickler about everything, linguistically speaking. I used to be somebody who was like, get the grammar right, get everything right.
Yeah,
no prepositions at the end of sentences.
You've relaxed a bit.
What I've done is just acknowledged that this language is an idiotic language made of a bunch of rules that were made up for no good reason by a bunch of very snooty people, and they don't help anything.
No.
And so for the most part, I've relaxed a lot about but my only guiding force is it easily understood what you mean?
Right.
And are you making the person that you're talking to do more work than they need to do? And also, are you using 50 words where you could be using 20? Because those are all things where I think those are good reasons to change how you're talking. If you're not being clear, if you're over talking or under talking or whatever, those are all things that need to be looked at. But if people are communicating and I get what they're saying. But they've dangled a participle.
Oh, how dare they?
I think I'm going to be okay.
Well, anyways.
Yeah. Anyways. Yes, indeed. I'll move on to the next email. Hey, Frank and Dan. I'm co-founder of the Dillsburg Area Free Thinkers, or DAFT. Cute.
Hey.
A religious and a religious listener of TGIA. I presume that religious means not... He's not a religious listener, but he listens religiously, is what I'm going to presume that means. Since we're on the
topic.
Since we're on the topic. We figured it out. It's all good. Our group was one of the plaintiffs in the recent lawsuit against the Pennsylvania House of Representatives regarding secular invocations.
Yeah. Okay.
You'll recall, Frank, that we reported last week that their lawsuit failed at the appellate court level.
Yeah, but they're in the mix.
They are in the mix. Let's see. We have successfully delivered 2 secular invocations in the Pennsylvania Senate. The second one was March of 2019, just 5 days before a crazy Jesus, Jesus, Jesus prayer as the Senate was preparing to seat the first Muslim to the Pennsylvania Senate.
God.
DAFT joined the American Americans United for Separation of Church and State, at their request, because we had legal standing. Mm-hmm. The fact that we had given 2 invocations in the Pennsylvania Senate seemed to be enough for the federal court judge who first ruled in our favor. The recent appeals court reversal was very disappointing, but not surprising. There was quite a bit of discussion in our DAFT group about whether or not to join the lawsuit, because we all feel that the practice of starting a government session with any kind of prayer should be completely discontinued.
Yeah, absolutely.
Will no doy.
Yeah.
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 Knowing the unlikelihood of that, we decided to help out the lawsuit because of our standing. Yep.
Yep. That's kind of the math there.
Yes, indeed. At very least, if you're going to do the thing that you really shouldn't be doing, don't. You got to let everybody be a part of it.
Yep.
Do we have some folks to thank?
We do have people to thank, Dan. We have four new patrons on Patreon.
Oh, great.
We have 2 new faithful listeners. We have Injamber and BCP Doc.
Okay.
Thank you very much to the both of you. We also have 2 new venerable listeners, J.A. and Boof Doggy Dog.
Great.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank
These
you.
people have helped all of us by pushing us a little bit closer to our goal of not having ads anymore.
I love this goal.
Yeah.
This is an important
Getting
goal.
us out from under the thumb of big advertising.
Yeah.
And under the thumb of all of our kind listeners.
Yeah.
So
it's a way better place to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
you're the people we care about anyway. We don't care about
Arby's or whatever tire
exactly
place is advertising in your area on our show.
You should support them or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
We thank them for their support, but
Yeah.
we want to be solely accountable to y'all. So, if you would like to join that noble, valiant effort, you can go to thankgodimatheist.com. You can click on the little banner on the right-hand side of the thing that says Patreon on it, or the support tab. Go to the Patreon, sign up. You choose what level you want. We're not counting the amount of money we're making, though that's important. We're counting the number of supporters that we get.
Yeah.
And when we get to 350, the ads turn off.
Yeah.
But there's one more goal between here and there.
Yeah.
And we're approaching that goal. We got
we've got a handful left. And once we hit that goal, 3/4 of the shows
will be ad-free.
Ad-free.
So get on it, y'all. We love you, and we want you to be our bosses. And we have one more final boss.
We do.
To thank.
Our Lord and Savior, our top donor.
Blessed be
Hannah.
Praise to she and praise to you, and we will let's keep going.
Huzzah! Dan!
Hey, you know who's an idiot?
Aside
from us. Yes, I mean, I think it's very clear who's an idiot on the show. And that is the everybody. But you know who else is an idiot, and I mock her openly?
Who?
Marianne Williamson.
Oh, she's Laura Dern's former roommate, right? Is that who you're talking about?
In
Laura
point
Dern's
of fact,
favorite?
she used to be roommates with actress Laura Dern. That is true.
Yeah.
She is also currently, is she still a candidate for the Democratic nomination for the U.S. presidency?
I haven't heard that she's dropped out.
I think she's still in it.
She's still going.
That won't last too long. Don't worry. But for now, she is one of the dingbats in flying around the ring. She's the one who is a self-help book writer. Her books will not help you, by the way. She's very into
find your help elsewhere.
All things spiritual.
Oh, the spiritual.
Yeah, she's very much into that.
She's sort of the classic liberal woo-woo
Yeah, lots
person,
of woo. Her books sort of encompass everything from Healing the Soul of America.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Subtitle, Reclaiming Our Voices as Spiritual Citizens. All the way through, that was from 1997, all the way through to 2010's classic, A Course in Weight Loss, 21 Spiritual Lessons for Surrendering Your Weight Forever.
Surrendering?
I yield my weight up to whom?
Yeah.
The Law of Divine Compensation on Work, Money, and Miracles. Anyway, she's as woo as you might want
I don't want.
A nutty...
I don't want.
70-something-year-old woman to be.
Is she that old?
67.
Okay.
Anywho, she recently got mad because she tweeted about the hurricane that was barreling toward Alabama recently. Fortunately, it took a turn, and Alabamians were safe from our president's wicked sharpieing. Anywho, Marianne Williamson tweeted about how everybody should pray in whatever way they pray. As 2 minutes of prayer, quote, she said, millions of us seeing Dorian turn away from land is not a wacky idea. It is a creative use of the power of the mind. 2 minutes of prayer, visualization, meditation for those in the way of the storm.
Oh, boy.
Then, shockingly, since she put this on the internet, some people might have been a little mean to her.
No.
You never would have seen it coming.
No.
The internet is such a place of kindness and sweet, only sweetness and good gestures.
Yeah.
Anyway, she then got very offended and said, she said, prayer is a power of the mind and is neither bizarre nor unintelligent. People of faith belong in the Democratic Party and will be necessary to the effort if we're to win in 2020. And then she also tweeted, I was born and raised in Texas, so I've seen it. Millions of people today are praying that Dorian turn away from land and treating those people with mockery or condescension because they believe it could help. Because they believe it could help is part of how the overly secularized left has lost lots of voters.
What does growing up in Texas have to do with anything? That's why she's seen it?
She's seen...
What is living in Texas like? That you see, miracles all the time?
The power of prayer.
The power of prayer.
Definitely people...
I don't know.
Folks be praying in Texas, that's for sure.
I have, as somebody who has seen What the Bleep Do We Know...
I have too.
It was a very convincing little film about water crystals
that get mad if you yell at them, and Ramtha.
Yeah.
Although sort of strangely masked, this crazy woman who channels an ancient warrior named Ramtha, but they don't actually say that because they know that if they said that that's who they were interviewing, it would be this. Everybody would go, "Oh, I get it. This is just a crazy movie."
Right. Yeah.
Which it was.
Amazing. It was amazingly crazy.
It was great, but it's not something, to be believed. Just like Marianne Williamson's nonsense, which is certainly not something to be believed. But here's the question.
Can a bunch of people all focusing their mental powers...
No. That's not the question.
That's not the question?
No.
Oh. I thought that's what I prepped for, Dan.
You didn't. You didn't prep for anything. You're completely unprepped.
How dare you?
I kid. No. The question is she right about mockery? Because here's the thing. I like a good mockery. We've been mocking her this whole time.
Yeah.
It's fun and joyful for me to mock our president, who is terrifying.
Yeah.
It is a catharsis for me to mock certain people.
Yeah. Here's the deal.
However, okay.
Oh, you had it. However, here's the deal.
Yeah, so. I know. So I'll keep my however. Then we'll jump to your here's the deal. However, I think she might be right about when it's a public figure and they're saying dippy doodle stuff.
That's my here's the deal.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
We get to mock the shit out of you.
Yep.
However, there is a danger, which is that if I'm mocking her, but what I'm doing is mocking a thing that's powerfully meaningful to all of my relatives, and I'm mocking her about that thing visibly.
That's a tough one to parse out because
it's tricky.
She, as somebody who is running for president, right, has gotten behind the idea that we should just all be praying the storm away, right. And, I mean, this might be one time where, if you believe in prayer, hey, that's a pretty good use of it. You know, it's better than praying for people after the tragedy and not instead of doing something, right? There's legitimately, you can't go out and stop this hurricane.
No.
Right? So, if you believed in prayer, that's a good time to use it.
Well, it's also a great moment to really check in with yourself about, why do I believe in this again?
Yeah, because it's going to do what it's going to do.
Right.
I mean, come on. So I'm not defending her, her calling for everybody, but I don't know. I go with and this was my here's the deal. Public figures are free game. And if they're suggesting something that the people who they're supposed to be representing, right, or trying to get their support, just don't go for.
Yeah.
You've shown that you're out of line with the thinking of a specific group, and you don't deserve their leadership. Or you don't deserve to be their leader.
Absolutely.
Right?
And that needs to be made absolutely clear.
Right. And so I think in this case, the mockery and the piling on, right? Mm-hmm. Because that's what that is. What happens on the internet?
Yeah.
Is and the thing about the internet is that it's public and it's personal all at once, right?
Yeah.
So when you start getting attacked online, it feels personal, right?
Yeah.
It feels like all these people are attacking you personally, and as a public figure, traditionally, you might have known that people were pissed off. You might have known that you were the butt of the joke, the day's joke, but you didn't have to face it in that way.
Sure.
And so maybe there's something that she's not fully up to speed on or whatever, as far as this is the reality of the day. If you're running for office and you say something stupid and people pile on, I don't know what to say, man. Right?
But here's what I'm getting at. Going after public figures, I think we can all agree.
Yeah.
Totally on the table.
Right.
But when you take something that is sacred to someone, just a person, just your Uncle Sam, your Uncle Jim, your uncle's...
I don't know, your Uncle Sam.
Your Uncle Sam. Not that Uncle Sam. Anyway, and you alienate him. What you're doing is playing into the enemy dynamic.
Yeah.
Where what this is about is we are opposed to each other.
Yeah.
Not, I don't love that idea, that doesn't do anything for me, but let's have a dialogue about it.
Right. Which
brings people together. Rather, you're further alienating. And I think right now in this country, and I saw a recent thing that was all about how it was an infographic that showed how many senators or Congress people were working across the line, across the aisle, and we are definitely in an insanely polarized moment in U.S. history.
Yeah,
and I think the world is also is similar. It's similar all over the world right now. That polarization is not helpful.
No,
and it's not healthy, and it's actually really, really bad. So I guess my feeling is I'm making fun of Marianne Williamson till the cows come home because she is nuts.
Right. But are you by proxy also making fun of your Uncle Sam?
Well, that's the question. Like, here, what I would say is that what I want to be sure of is that the ways in which I'm making fun of that kind of thing, that when I do it on, Facebook or whatever, people listening to this show, it's not, my Uncle Sam's not going to be listening to this show. But people who are seeing what I'm writing on Facebook, they might take some shrapnel off of something like that. So I'm going to be more careful about it. And I think that
so you're thinking about everybody's feelings all the time.
Trying to.
Wow, it's a lot to take on.
I think it's worth it. I mean, I think at very least we can consider. I don't think it's a lot to take on to say I'm going to consider who I am and whether I'm contributing or not contributing to this polarization, to this antipathy between what don't need to be two sides of a war.
Right.
You know what I mean? This should just be people living together in society who disagree. That's what's supposed to be happening.
Right.
But it's not what's happening. What's happening is clashing and destruction and nobody's listening and everybody's yelling.
Yeah.
And I think that's I think that mockery in general just makes that worse. Just pushes that further. Waiting for you to jump in.
Oh, is that how this works?
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
Okay.
That's also
sometimes
it's how this works.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm just wondering where you're at with this.
Here's the deal. I don't feel, ironically, the need to be commenting on everything all day long, every day, in front of my friends and family. Right?
Right.
Very interestingly, this show is not in front of my friends and family. There are those who know about it and who do listen, right? But it's not. This is not my platform to find every little thing like my opinion is so fucking important,
right?
About every little thing, or that I'm so goddamn clever,
right?
That like people will be so interested in everything that I have to say. I don't think on this show that most people really are interested in what I have to say, right? Like we have people who listen to us, right? And it's a good audience, but it's people who I feel like they already know what they're coming to get, right?
Maybe.
Sure. And sometimes they agree with us and sometimes they don't, and that's fine, but they've tuned in, and it's just kind of a different thing, right? The social media thing, I don't super connect with it. Right. And so the conundrum of how do I need to present my every comment on everything that's coming down the pike, I don't necessarily think that it's and I know you really like it, but for me, it's not a healthy thing. It doesn't work with me, right? Like
social media in general?
Social media.
Well, but this applies also to Thanksgiving dinner or sitting down with the family.
Yeah, but that's a very different context. She wasn't sitting at Thanksgiving dinner and had everybody start mocking her for what she said.
I know.
She said it in a public forum, and then everybody jumps on top of it.
Yeah.
And she's on that forum, so I say she deserves it.
But I'm talking about mockery as a concept, and I think that a lot of people, I certainly know people who even at the Thanksgiving dinner, because here's the thing. We're unlikely to fire the first shot. But at Thanksgiving dinner, Aunt Susan's going to get a little bit sloshed on some wine, and she's going to say some bullshit.
Right.
Well, this country would be so much better if we all just believed in Jesus, blah, blah, blah. And believe me, we're all, you and me, our listeners, the impulse is going to be there to be like, you're an idiot, and here is 1,000 reasons why you're an idiot.
Right.
So the question is mockery a useful tool in any of these situations? Or is it just...
Well, drunk Aunt Susan, you are walking into your own mess if you decide to engage with her. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
and you're creating a situation, and you potentially are going to have other family members, including people who agree with you,
Yeah.
who are going to be pissed off at you for sitting there and poking at her, right?
Even though she poked first.
Even though she poked first, right?
Doesn't-
She said the stupid thing, and you just couldn't let it hang in the air without commenting on it.
Or, I
That
mean,
is, in my mind, these are so different of discussions, right?
Right, but I
this
mean,
is not civil discourse. You know, like if you show up to a city council meeting and you decide to sit there and mock the city council and specific members of the city council publicly, that is a very different thing, right? Than getting online and being like, blah, 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 right? Like, these are just different things.
Sure, but
right?
what I guess
or if
what
you
I'm
see
saying
the person,
is-
you see that city council member in the supermarket and you decide to follow them around with your cart and, you know, yell badgering things at them, right? Like, that, people need to realize that that is what they're doing online, but they don't see it.
I know.
Right?
And
so these are so different. So
I
if you're-
don't think that they're that different, though. What I'm claiming is that I feel like we need to change our mindset from one of you have a stupid thought and therefore you are stupid and open to my mockery because I'm convinced my thinking is better than yours.
Mm-hmm.
To civilized society says if someone steps out of the realm of decent thinking or, and says something idiotic or whatever, you're allowed to disagree, and there are good ways to do that, even vocally to them or whatever. But mockery and derision, I mean, when it's done in the context of comedy or for fun,
yeah.
among a group of people that will understand it as that, that's one thing. When it's done in a form that isn't that, and you're just and other people are going to see it and take offense, I think that should be reconsidered.
How are you going to enforce this?
Not. I'm going to call for it. That's all.
A call for civility.
That's all I got. That's as good as it gets, baby.
Can I openly mock you right now?
Please do.
Can I?
Please do. I can take it.
Anyway.
Well, there you go. I know that a lot of people disagree, but I'm open to hearing it. Please mock us at podcast@thankgodimatheist.com if you want to.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yes, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and do not mock Mackenzie on there, but click the like button.
And while on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It is a closed group. That's what makes it great.
Yeah.
So join.
Speaking of the social media, like I say, Mackenzie, the unmockable Mackenzie is amazing. Thank you so much for all of your help on the Facebook page, and thanks to Amy and Danny for doing the Members Only Lounge.
And a big thanks goes out to the Red Rock Hot Club and to Gordon Johnston for the use of their music.
Yeah, and thank all of you for tuning in.
Bye-bye.
I at one point
Huzzah!
was considering getting the word huzzah tattooed in big block letters on my ass, just so that when I mooned people, it would be this big.
And you regularly moon people?
No, but I would then.
It's all part of a plan, really.
If that were on my ass, I would definitely be mooning people. How festive. It's a festive moon right there.
You could have, like, confetti and bunting.
Oh, sure.
You should have bunting.
Sure.
Tattooed on.
Yeah.
I love bunting.
So stupid. But I would. If I had huzzah on my ass, I would have bunting on each leg underneath.